I grew up in the quiet suburbs of Portland, Oregon, with my younger sister Emily. Life wasn't easy after our parents passed away in a car accident when I was 18 and she was only 15. The only close family we had left was our Uncle James, our father's younger brother, a kind man in his early 40s who lived in Seattle, Washington. When he offered to take us in, I remember being both grateful and anxious, unsure how life would look living under his roof. Uncle James wasn't married. He lived alone in a modest but beautiful two-story house filled with books, art, and the quiet hum of a person who had grown used to solitude. He was a high school teacher, respected by everyone for his patience and fairness. When Emily and I moved in, he promised to take care of us like his own daughters. At first, it was awkward, 3 strangers under one roof, trying to rebuild a broken family. But Uncle James made it easier. He'd cook breakfast every morning, wait at the door before work to wish us luck, and never let us feel like a burden. I'll never forget the first morning when he placed pancakes and orange juice on the table and said, "This house is your home now. You don't have to tiptoe." It was the first time I'd smiled in weeks. Emily adjusted faster than I did. She was always cheerful, always eager to bring laughter back into the house. I, on the other hand, spent most of my time focused on school and part-time work, trying to save money for college. But Uncle James noticed. One evening, he knocked gently on my door and said, "You don't always have to be strong, Lily. It's okay to let someone else carry the weight sometimes." His words hit something deep in me. Over time, he became not just an uncle but a mentor. Someone who guided us with firm kindness. He helped Emily with her homework, taught me how to handle taxes, and even joined me when I had to attend parent-teacher meetings for Emily. Slowly, our little trio began to feel like a family again. But life has a way of testing even the strongest bonds. A year after we moved in, Uncle James started dating a woman named Rachel, a real estate agent from downtown Seattle. She was elegant, confident, and had a smile that could light up a room. I was genuinely happy for him. He deserved love after everything he'd sacrificed for us. But soon, small things started to change. He began working late, missing family dinners, and forgetting movie nights with us. Emily would pout and say, "He doesn't hang out with us anymore," and I'd just laugh, telling her he was busy. But deep down, I missed the old rhythm too. Then one evening, I overheard Rachel on the phone in the kitchen. She was upset, saying something about not wanting to take care of 2 teenagers. When she saw me, she quickly ended the call, gave me a tight smile, and left. I didn't tell Uncle James because I didn't want to cause tension, but over time, her coldness became harder to ignore. She'd make subtle remarks like, "It must be hard raising kids who aren't yours," or, "You should think about your own life, James." I could see how torn he was between his love for her and his loyalty to us. One night, after a particularly heated argument between them, he came into our room, sat on the edge of my bed, and apologized for everything. His voice was tired, but his words were filled with sincerity. "No matter what happens," he said, "you two are my family. I'll never let anyone come between that." A week later, Rachel left. She moved to another city, and Uncle James seemed relieved, though sad. Emily, trying to lighten the mood, baked a cake and wrote, "Team James" on it with frosting. We laughed until we cried. Years passed, and both Emily and I grew into adults under his care. Emily graduated from college with a degree in fine arts, while I became a social worker. Uncle James attended every ceremony, every milestone, cheering louder than anyone else. We joke that he was our third parent. Eventually, Emily got married to a wonderful man named Daniel, and they moved to San Francisco. Uncle James walked her down the aisle with tears in his eyes, whispering, "Your dad would be proud." When I turned 25, I decided to buy a small house not far from Uncle James's. I wanted to stay close because, truthfully, I couldn't imagine my life without him. One afternoon, I came over with groceries, and he was sitting on the porch reading an old novel. His hair had grayed slightly, but his smile was still the same. "You've grown up so fast, Lily," he said, chuckling. "It feels like just yesterday you were trying to burn toast." We laughed for hours that day, talking about life, about Emily, and about how much had changed. Then one rainy night, I got a call from him. He'd been diagnosed with a mild heart condition. It wasn't critical, but it scared me. I rushed to his house, determined to help. The next few months were challenging. I managed his doctor appointments, made sure he took his medication, and cooked healthy meals for him. In that time, I realized something profound. Family isn't about who raises you, but who stays with you when life gets hard. Uncle James recovered well, and during his birthday party that year, he stood before a small group of neighbors and said, "People think family is something you're born into. But sometimes, family is something you build, one act of love at a time." There wasn't a dry eye in the room. He looked at me and Emily, pride radiating in his eyes. "These two young women," he said, "gave me a reason to live again." Now, years later, as I sit on that same porch watching the sunset, I often think about how fate turned tragedy into something beautiful. Uncle James taught us resilience, kindness, and the importance of standing by one another. We weren't related by choice, but by love, and that's what made our family unbreakable. The story of our lives wasn't one of infidelity or betrayal, but of redemption, trust, and the quiet heroism of a man who stepped up when we needed him most.